I worked as a summer camp counselor. One of the best experiences of my life, by far. So, basically, the way it works is we all live on the campsite for 2 months together. A week before camp starts, so that's our training week. 2 weeks if you're a program head, fun shit. All the fancy stuff that we need to have the camp run well, they get an extra week. So there are 1 to 2 weeks before kids actually arrive. I got to work with so many amazing people and even more amazing kids. I struggled with their names, but they all knew because I announced very early on, I'm not doing it on purpose, I do care. I'm just very bad with them. Some of them come from really good homes, some of them have really good situations, some of them not the best. But we provide equal opportunity, for lack of a better word. We treat everyone the same. Everyone's the same. We had, and I can't say more than a celebrity's kid. I have to keep it kind of hush. But one of the nicest kids. Like, you know all those stereotypes about celebrity kids and how they're all rotten? No, none of that. Absolutely amazing kid. Absolutely loved them. At the same time, we had some more troubled kids. They had not the nicest situations at home, right? Not so much like bad, just things in the past. Like, they'd been resolved. Just things in the past kind of thing. And some of them are so mature in comparison to what you'd expect out of a child their age. It scares you. But it's also really interesting to listen to them because of the way they interact and the way they open up over time. Because at the beginning, almost everyone's a closed shell. Myself included. I'd been going to this camp my entire life. As far as back as I can remember, I've been going to this camp as a camper. So getting to work there was a really cool change of perspective. And when I got the interview, the first question they asked me is, why are you interested in working here? What inspired you? And immediately came to mind all of the counselors that I could remember. All of their crazy antics, their goofy camp names, because none of them used their real names. Just immediately I go, I want to be able to have the same impact on somebody, even just one person, that any of my counselors have had on me over the years I have attended this camp. I want to be able to pay it forward, give somebody else that same experience. Right? Because this is one of the most important things I feel like in my development as a person. I feel I would be a completely different person without this place. Because it gave me a week to 2 weeks every summer to detox from tech, because I live and breathe tech. It gave me a week to 2 weeks to open up in ways that I'd never opened up before. It gave me a chance to explore new things, to go out into nature, which is, at the time, something I didn't really value, but now I find myself commenting on the lack of trees. It's shaped me into a completely different person. And being able to have that level of impact on somebody is just, even if it's only one person, even if I've only made one person's day better than it was before I arrived, that is a win in my books. That is what I strive to do. And I have been told I did that. I feel like I could have done better, but I've been told I achieved that goal. They were super encouraging. If you were struggling with something, like, the most distinct one that comes to mind is, as a child, I was extremely terrified of heights. And my parents thought, oh, let's sign this kid up for the aerial part course, which is treetop trekking in other terms. It starts off relatively low to the ground. You're only about 5 feet off the ground in the training course, right? So you familiarize yourself, you get used to how the ropes and everything feel. And then they take you 40 feet in the air. So 4 stories at the lowest. And it slowly gets higher and higher because the trees get older and older. So, the further out you get onto the course, the taller and the higher off the ground it gets. I remember the first time I ever stepped foot, and they booked me 3 times for my first year, right? So my first 2 weeks going to this camp, I was booked 3 times to go up into that aerial course. The first time, I could not And like, I mean, like for the first like 10 minutes, my group went last because I was like, I'm terrified of heights. I'm terrified. I'm not gonna be able to do this. Yada yada. Just rambling, prattling, all stuff counselors had seen before. I go, what if I fall? And my counselor immediately goes, watch this, and just throws himself off the side. Granted, there's a tether system, right? So you're not gonna fall and just, He immediately goes, what about falling? Just jumps off the side of the court. Immediately. And just starts hanging around, hanging upside down from his ropes like Spider-Man. And he's like, if you come out here, you can be Spider-Man. That's all I needed to hear. Right? The immediate encouragement. That's all I needed, was just that little push, that little extra bit of encouragement. That's all it took. And then from that day forward, I was in the first group for the entire rest of the week. Anytime I went through that course, I was first group, first one through that course. I fucking flew through that course. Zipline still scared the shit out of me every time, but still, it still does to this day. But it's more of an adrenaline rush, rather than a, I'm going to die. Oh boy, just thinking about that, I'm like shaking. Oh, like happy shaking, not bad shaking. For the longest time, I couldn't swim. I'm still not the strongest, but I'm capable of, swimming now. When I first started going there, I told the lifeguards, I can't swim. I can't do this. I know I won't be able to swim. And I just put on a life vest. Because I know, and I knew, and they encouraged me. And I did give it a shot, but I was right. I was right, I couldn't swim. Lifeguards were there immediately. I got my head back above water and it's like, yep, I need help. Can't do it. But they slowly were like, don't worry about it. Not being able to go without a life vest is okay. I slowly, as the years went on, I began to start to push myself. Like the second year, I was like, this year I'm gonna pass that swim test. I didn't. But I worked for it. I retook that test 5 times and got to the point where I could make it halfway around the course before I needed help. Which, for little 8-year-old me, was really impressive considering this was a massive swim area. I pushed myself, and then the 3rd year, I got even closer, but I just barely fell short. Couldn't quite do it. Just couldn't tread the water. Because I never made it to the treading water part, and never got that. But the year after that, I finally passed. It was a struggle. It was one hell of a fight. Lifeguards thought I might have needed help a few times, but I didn't ask for help, and they all knew me. If I don't ask for help, I'm good. And I passed it, and just most triumphant feeling in the world, and taught me to push myself, because if you don't push yourself, you won't improve. Plus, I've met so many great friends. Most of them all got to come back and work there. Some of them, unfortunately, couldn't because of opportunities and such. But I'm still in touch with almost all of them. And not being in touch with them is something I'd rather not think about. If I could tell every person in the world one thing, fear is important. It's a necessity. Fear is there to stop us from doing things that would otherwise normally lead to harm, but those fears can also be at an unhealthy level, like holding you back from treetop trekking, or preventing you from trying to swim, or preventing you from reaching your goal. Some of my fears were heights, some of my fears were the dark. I've conquered all those fears, because they're irrational. There's some that are irrational, there's some that aren't. Don't feel bad about being afraid. But take that fear, and instead of running away, like most people do, which is a natural human instinct, take that fear, channel that energy that it gives you, and use it to get over that fear. Don't just be content. Because there's always room for improvement. Always.